Hey everyone, I think I found a way to fix Eldritch Blast that makes everyone happy. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. Let's get into it. The reason I'm talking about this is because there are a lot of power builds out there that abuse the Eldritch Blast cantrip. And whether it's a 1 level dip, 2 or 3 level dip, what happens is a lot of these power builds will typically dip 1 to 3 levels into Warlock, and they get a lot more powerful because of it, and it kind of really takes away from the Warlock when you do this. So this is the fix I'm proposing people do for this cantrip. So Eldritch Blast is the only cantrip in the game that doesn't scale in damage, but instead scales in number of attacks. Now, if you did any other cantrip this way, it would change a lot of things, but it doesn't with Eldritch Blast. And actually, it does quite a bit, but if the person's playing a Warlock only, it's not a big problem. It's when they start multi-classing into other things like Sorcerer and Bard when it starts to become a problem. So this is the fix that I propose. So the fix I'm proposing for Eldritch Blast is that if you have the Eldritch Blast cantrip, and the only way to get this is a 1 level dip into Warlock with the 2024 Rule Edition. So if you want to do this, then the cantrip will scale in damage by your character level and not by number of attacks. What will instead happen is if you want the extra attacks, you have to go further into Warlock. So at 5th level, a Warlock will get an ability, let's call it Eldritch Blaster. And it makes it so that the Warlock is able to then split the number of attacks up with the Eldritch Blast. So 5th level, 2 attacks, 11th level, 3 attacks, 17th level, 4 attacks. But this scales with the Warlock level and not with the character level. Now, if you take a 1, 2, 3, 4 level dip into Warlock, the damage will scale with character level. If you take a 1 level dip, but you're, in 7 levels of fighter or 7 levels of sorcerer, but if you take 1 Warlock, well, now when you throw an Eldritch Blast out there, it'll be doing the 2d10 force damage as opposed to 1d10 force damage, but you're only getting 1 attack. But if you're a 5th level Warlock, you can split that now into where you're getting the 2 attacks, 1d10 each. But what happens if your multi-class is much different? Let's say you have 5 levels of Warlock, and then you have 9 levels of Bard. Well, the way this would work is it'd be 3d10s. So you'll be able to split it into 2 blasts because you're 5 levels of Warlock. But you choose which one you want to have the 2d10 and which one you want to have the 1d10. So my purpose in this fix is basically what it does is it shuts down the abuse of power builds when multi-classing with Warlock, because basically a sorcerer and bard can use this cantrip almost better than a warlock can with just 1 to 3 level dip. And with the bard, it's 1 level dip. With the sorcerer, that's typically 2 to 3. A sorcerer can get away with just 1 as well, though. But more attacks is almost always better than more damage, because there's more opportunities for you to hit. And if you miss once with a spell that does 4d10 damage, or would you rather take 4 attacks and each one of those at a d10? Majority of people are going to take the 4 attacks at a d10 versus 1 attack that does 4d10, because there's more opportunities for you to hit, and if you miss, well, guess what? You still got 3 more chances to try and hit. But I think that should be one of the things that warlocks get. I think that should be special to the warlocks and not special to someone who just say, "Hey, I took a 1, 2, 3 level dip into this, and now I'm casting it just as strong as them." I think the damage should scale with player level, but the number of blasts should scale with warlock level. Tell me what you guys think about this. Is this a bad idea? Is this a good idea? Because I think it's a good idea. I think that this balances it out and makes it more special to the warlock. Yes, it shuts down some power builds, but at the same time, the goal of balancing this out is the purpose of making higher level gameplay easier and making it more accessible. Because typically, when people are doing high level gameplay, it gets shut down because everything's broken by that level. Well, this fixes some of that brokenness so that you can still play higher level gameplay and it's more balanced. It's not as much work for the DM, and the group is going to be more willing to play and happy to play, and it's not going to be such a burden for the DM to want to keep going at higher levels. And I think one of the ultimate goals should be to make higher level gameplay easier on the DM and while still having that epic feel. But what do you guys think? Is this a good fix? Is it a bad fix? Has anybody else done this before? Or, is it just a bad idea in general? Tell me what your thoughts are. Until then, guys, keep having fun with your friends, and I'll talk to you later.